Hey YouTubers, gave you a little teaser here a couple weeks ago on this, and now I'm going to sit down and do a review of it. It is the Glock G20c. The C is for compensator. It's a 10mm auto. And this is everything it comes with. Got the handgun. Got 3 magazines, which I'm very impressed with. Anything over 2 is awesome. I mean, that's incredible. Very happy about that. Of course, it doesn't come with the ammo. It's all loaded right now because this is my carry pistol now. When I don't have to be concerned about conceal, about something very small, I carry this. So I've been just tossing a vest over this thing and away I go. Comes here, it's got a little brush, a little bore punch. There's the magazine loader. Set that to the side. So each of these mags holds 15 rounds, and 15 rounds of 10mm is a lot of power. A lot, that's a lot. So you might not be all that well versed on the 10mm, but it is basically it's a 40 Smith & Wesson Magnum. I'm going to do a separate video here on specifically on the 10mm, because there's a lot to talk about with this round. It's a really, really awesome round. It is more powerful than a .45 ACP. If you go to the Glock website, they list this as one of their hunting handguns. You can use it for hunting, self-defense. I've been looking around doing a lot of research online about its hunting uses, and from what I've read, there is pretty much nothing in North America that you can't hunt with this, including elk, moose, bear, and I've read some accounts also of this being used on Cape Buffalo in Africa. Now, as you know, you can't trust everything on the internet, so I would have to research that a little bit more. But supposedly that's the word out there. Now this thing is listed as having 550 foot-pounds of muzzle energy, which is a lot. And like I said, I'm gonna get a little bit more into that later in another video when I do a video on the 10mm auto, and I'm going to compare it to the 45, the 40, and the 9mm. The nice thing about the Glock is that its polymer is recoil reducing, because from what I've read, the 10mm, a lot of people have had problems with it. It was initially tested by the FBI to replace their .38 Special, but some of the small frame men and the females had a hard time with it because of their recoil. So they basically dummied down the round. A lot of the stuff you get off the shelf is a little bit more powerful than a 40 Smith & Wesson, but you really need to research the ammo and make sure when you buy 10mm ammo that you're getting something that's full power ammo. Because there is a difference, I'll tell you. I shot some off-the-shelf stuff, and then I bought some other stuff. There's some boutique ammo companies out there making ammo. And then there's also Buffalo Bore makes a little bit. They make a very strong round, and I've been told the Winchester ammo is also pretty good stuff. But a lot of the companies, the Buffalo Bore, a lot of the companies that make the high power or the full power 10mm auto ammo, they do their testing on a Glock, so you're good to go. Some of it you got to be, I've read you have to be a little bit careful with the full power stuff and some of the other 10mm handguns on the market. This is, essentially my first Glock, and I've been extremely impressed with this thing. It is, for one thing, it's ate every type of ammo I've put through it without a hiccup. I mean, if you put it in there, pull the trigger, it's going to go bang. this gun is awesome. As I said in my other video, I used to dislike the Glock fanboys on the internet, but after owning this for just a short time, I can see why they are such adamant fans of the Glock, because it's just awesome. There's really no other way to describe how well it shoots. Is just awesome. Like I said, it eats everything. You're not going to have any issues with it. No jams, no misfires, nothing. And the trigger on it is excellent. So when you pull the trigger, it goes bang, but the process of pulling the trigger, it is a nice trigger. It has a really crisp, clean break to it that I like. So the tech data on it, like I said, is 10mm auto. The weight is 27.68 ounces. Loaded, it's 39.14 ounces. The length is 7.59 inches. Height is 5.47 inches. Width, 1.27 inches. And the barrel height is 1.26 inches. Line of sight is 6.77. Barrel length is 4.6. The trigger pull, they have it listed at 5.5 pounds. Trigger travel is 1/2 inch. Rifling in the right hand, hexagonal. Length of twist is 9.84 inches. And as I said, also the magazine capacity is 15 rounds. Now, one of the things I've been looking at, and one of the nice things about buying a Glock, is that there are a lot of accessories on the market. And one of the ones I was looking at, there's actually a couple. One of them is the 10mm, and there's a 6-inch barrel. I would like to use this for hunting, and in Wisconsin it has to be at least 5.5 inches. So with a I think it actually comes out to like 6.02. It's going to stick out a little bit, but I think it'd be an excellent hunting handgun. And one of the other things I found out about the 10mm, which I didn't know, is that you can also shoot with just a change of the barrel other calibers, such as the 40 Smith & Wesson, 357 SIG, and the I believe it's called the 9mm Limball. I believe that's what it's called. So this pistol here gives you a lot of flexibility. I think the shooting 40 Smith & Wesson is going to come in really handy, because that's a little bit cheaper to buy than the 10mm auto. You can get full power 40 Smith & Wesson a lot cheaper than you can get the full power 10mm auto. So, and then also, I've heard a lot of people like the 357 SIG. It's not very popular, but I've heard it's a really excellent round. So, I'm interested in trying that out. The 9mm Limball, I haven't heard a lot about it. Don't know, just a few. Had seen it mentioned a few times on the internet, but I don't know that much about it. So, but it gives me a lot of options, and I like that. So, takedown on this, it's pretty simple. First, of course, clear. Now, I've read the way they do it, and I've seen it done other ways too. I've seen it done where you release the slide, then pull the trigger. The way Glock recommends you doing it, you pull the trigger, then you pull it back just a little bit, and then you release the slide, and it comes off. Now, like I said, I've seen other people do it the other way, but I prefer doing it like that. So, it has a completely enclosed recoil spring. Has the compensated barrel here. And the slide. I find it really fascinating, the design on this, and I just started reading the Glock book, and manufacturing is very interesting to me. And the way this is made, I mean, it's just basically just a bar of steel, and the way they've cut it, it's very simple. They don't have a lot of grooves cut in it like the 1911 does. It's just very simple, and I think that's what makes it work so well. And one of the, another thing too, this coating, as you Glock people know, is Tenifer, and this coating on here is practically indestructible. Sweat proof, saltwater proof, I mean pretty much anything. Extremely durable stuff. So then put the spring on. And this also has a great reset on it. Watch this. Doesn't go far much at all. Great trigger reset on it. Probably one of the best trigger resets I've seen outside of a 1911. One of the interesting things I was reading about this, when they first started importing it into America, people were actually taking stock out of the box Glocks and winning shooting competitions, like what's it called, the IDPA. People were winning those with stock Glocks. So you got all these people with these fancy 1911s and all this other stuff that've been decked out, really expensive, and some dude shows up with a stock Glock and wins, and they routinely won. Kind of an interesting story. I'm really liking the Glock book. Something else I was really impressed, like I said, you know, this thing eats any ammo you give it. It's like the Cookie Monster. Just eats everything, devours it, shoots it out, no issues. And I'm also extremely impressed with the accuracy of this thing. I got really, really good accuracy. And I'll show you guys the range footage when I'm done here. And one of the things about the G20, it is one of their large framed Glocks, a little bit bigger frame than their 10mm, or I'm sorry, their 9mm. And one of the things I've read some people say is on these, due to the size of the grip, they have a hard time getting their thumb on the magazine release. Now, I've got pretty big hands. I actually wear a size, my gloves are either large or extra large. So I got big hands, and even for me, as you can see, my thumb just barely touches it. So I would have to index my thumb, or excuse me, I would have to rotate the pistol to press the grip, and that's usually what I end up doing. So for me, that's not that big a deal. I've also found I can, it's easier for me to actually just to hit it with this thumb than it is to rotate the pistol. And one of the other things on here, the slide release, is not much to it at all. It's kind of hard to hit when the slide is locked back. And and it's brand new, so I'm sure it'll break in a little bit, but it's kind of hard to hit. Be nice if it stuck out just a wee bit more, not much. But that's just details, minor details, nothing significant at all. And and like I said before, the nice thing about the Glock, there's a lot of aftermarket stuff. A lot of people make a lot of stuff for Glock. Extended magazine releases, I've seen slide releases, triggers, as I said before, barrels, pretty much everything. Now for me, there's really nothing on here I would change. I might possibly change this, and kind of doubt I would change the magazine release. Those would be the only two things I would even consider changing, and like I said, I probably would not change them. I'm perfectly fine with them the way they are. But everything else on here is perfect. I guess I don't even see why anybody changed the trigger on it. This trigger, I mean, I don't know if all Glocks are like this one, but this trigger on here is awesome. I love this trigger. Of the striker-fired single-action triggers that I have used, this one here is definitely my favorite. Part of the Glock design is that they only use 34 component parts, which the fewer the parts, the more reliable it is. And I think that's one of the things that's quite a few less parts than other semi-automatic handguns in the market. And I think that's part of the reason why they are so reliable. And something else they do on these, the component parts of any specific Glock model are 100% interchangeable. Meaning, if your buddy's got the same pistol as you, you could swap out any number of parts and it will work. And that's because of modern machining. When they make these, everything's completely interchangeable. And they also have a lot of these parts, not all, but a lot of the parts are also interchangeable between different models of the Glock, which is something, all 3 points of those contribute to the low cost of the Glock also. They don't have to do a lot of extra tooling, anything like that. It's all very, it's all 100% interchangeable, similar parts between models, and there's only 34 parts. They're also designed that a Glock armorer can completely disassemble this with a pin punch. One of the hallmarks of the Glock is the natural grip design. When you hold it up, it naturally fits to your hand, which is allow you to get you on target faster, faster sight acquisition, and coupling that with the low bore access, it's going to give you low muzzle flip, which is also good for follow-up shots. So anyway, if y'all have any questions or anything, let me know. Semper Fi.